Hey, it's me, your high heels in the boardroom, cocktails at midnight, luxury loving, dill closing, no filter boss babe. And that is Salty City. Come with me for some real talk, big goals, zero apologies, and let's get salty. I am so excited to be here today. I have been dreaming of creating this podcast for a long time, not only for myself, but the individuals that are going to engage and hopefully find this content helpful in their lives, your daily lives, whatever decision you're trying to accomplish. I just hope this podcast brings value to you as an individual. So let's get started. Why Salty City and who am I? So the reason I want to do Salty City is, to be honest, I have gone through some serious shit in life. I have had divorces. I was a young teen mom. I have built a career in corporate America that I thought I wanted, but decided absolutely not at the end of the day. Had to reinvent myself, my career, my family. And why is all that valuable? I don't know. Maybe I've been through some shit and maybe I can bring it to you. So to be honest, this is not going to be some highlight reel podcast. This is some real talk where I want you to grab a glass of wine or whatever you need at the end of the day. I hope this podcast is something where you want to sit, relax, and regain your strength, energy, or get your next idea. And again, stop the someday and maybe you'll say, hell yes, I'm doing this today. That is what I hope you get out of this. So who am I? I'm your badass bitch from Salt Lake City. My name's Lindsay. A little bit about me. Let's just cut to the chase. It's going to be one of the biggest questions, one of the main things asked, I think, because I'm from Salt Lake City and I'm starting this podcast. Yes, I come from Mormon culture, raised LDS, and was, I guess, baptized when I was 8 years old. But I also come from a very religious mixed family, a very strong Catholic family, and I have a very strong LDS side to my family. One of my grandparents is originally from Salt Lake and was born and raised in the Mormon culture. Most of my other family, most of my grandparents are actually very strong Catholic from Portland, Oregon, and a lot of my family moved here from Italy. So I think it was kind of between Austria and Italy. They were the very strong Catholic side that moved it to Utah and started sheep herding here and had ranches. In fact, I believe that most of that side of my family owned all of East Canyon and lost it later on. So we'll get to that. No, I do not follow Mormonism. No, I'm not part of the church. I'm actually a strong part of the Catholic community here in Salt Lake City. A little bit about my background, but let's get to some other stuff. So I was actually a teen mom. That is probably one of the biggest struggles and hurdles that I've had in my life that made me who I am today. And why I say that, I had all of the odds against me, like no bullshit. I was 16 years old, had a child once I was 17, and was a young single mom very young. And I had to really push my way through life. And I had to create everything I wanted. While most highlights of that or spotlight of being a teen mom is that there was going to be a failure. You already failed. You already fucked up, right? You can't look at life or situations that way. So very early on, I had to learn that it was me, that the decision I made, the decisions I wanted, or the outcomes I wanted, that was the shit that I had to do, and I had to do it for myself. No one was going to do it for me. I had to wake up saying, fuck you, and this is my next step, and that I'm going to be the person that I want to be, and that's why I'm here today, and some of the decisions that I've made that have made me who I am. And with that really came a lot of challenges. So, for example, being a young single mom, and at this point, I was in a position here in Salt Lake, at, the judgment, I guess, and being a young mom, we decided to get married, which was an awful idea. I mean, anybody getting married at 17 is really a bad idea. And so that happened. And really, fast forward a couple years, I ended up divorced at 19 years old with 2 children. Like, no bullshit. That individual took off. Like, I was literally left at 100% as a young single mom at 19 years old with 2 kids. I was in college. I was working full time as well. I was going to Salt Lake Community College here locally and got accepted into Westminster College. It was like a huge highlight, right? And I don't remember exactly, but I know that I got some sort of like grant or money towards tuition. So it was like awesome, so badass. And I was super excited for it. So started going to Westminster College and again, working full time. And about a year and a half into that experience, I was literally exhausted. Like, I could not do it. And it was really hard to walk away. I ended up walking away. One of my goals at that time was I'm going to graduate college. That was something that I really wanted to accomplish, but it didn't happen. And one of the reasons I decided to walk away is that I was losing time with my kiddos. And the most important thing to me at that time was being with my family, being with my kids. Some people can do it, some people can't. I think nowadays, like having things virtual and being able to do things online, that wasn't there. That was not in existence when I was in that time period. And so I made the decision to walk away. But that made me very career driven. And I think I've always had entrepreneur skills. So basically, I decided that I was going to build my own career and that I was going to figure things out. I love business. I love being able to invest and grow. And so I decided that I was going to spend time with my kids and I was going to take another direction. And that's exactly what I did. Did it always work out? No. You bet your ass. Like, I failed multiple times, which is okay. And then life happened too. Like, I got a little bit older. I ended up getting married, having more kids. Really, like, I guess I put some things on hold, which I think is okay. And I think sometimes as women, we can struggle with that. Like, trying to figure out where you go in life, what things you want personally. When you're raising a family and you have little kids, sometimes you put things on hold, which I think is totally okay. And you have to pick up later on. And that's what I did. So I feel like I had this gap in between my mid-20s up until about 30 that I really did put things on hold. And I was basically just raising my family, working at entry-level jobs at that point to build my life and to build my family up and be there for my kids. But I then went through another turn in life where I ended up getting a divorce and had to again reinvent myself, reinvent my career, start a new path. And that's when I decided that I was really going to work hard towards building kind of within corporate America. I had an opportunity with a company years ago, about 15 so years ago. I thought, okay, this is great. I can find my way here. So I ended up going into corporate America and building on about a 3 to 5 year career there in healthcare that I loved to pursue. It was amazing. And it was something that I really thought I wanted to do. So I started entry level, made my way up that corporate ladder. I was a regional sales director and managed multiple states. It was super rewarding. I traveled a lot. My home base was in Texas. So I got to just have a different opportunity, a little bit of a different life. But to be honest, once I was in that role and had really hit kind of some of my goals, it was eye-opening, I guess, to realize that that's actually not what I wanted at all. And so here I am, like in my mid-30s going, shit. I thought I wanted this, but I got here and nope, this is not fulfilling. So I decided that I really had to back away at that point and really, I guess, settle in and decide like, who the fuck am I? Like, what do I want? I'm at the end of my road. Like, what am I going to be stoked about? Like, I really had to sit on this. And here I thought that I was accomplishing all these goals that I really wanted to. But once I got there, it was doing nothing for me. In fact, it was taking away. It just wasn't working. So while I sat there in my own skin, I decided that realistically, I have always been a very independent female. I have always had this entrepreneur type spirit, and it was time for me to call my own shots, make my own schedule, and make a shit ton of money. That was the goal. So here we are, 40 years old, walking into my own light, calling my own game, and honestly reinventing my life, my career, all of those things 100%. That's why I'm bringing you this podcast. That's why I stepped into my real estate journey. And that's been just over a year and a half to 2 years that I started that, and it's going phenomenal. I think that for a minute, I was playing myself a little bit small when I decided to make these changes, which was a huge mistake. But I think sometimes when you make a big change or you're trying to adapt, we can make ourselves smaller or feel smaller than what we really are. And that's something that I've had to learn. I have a very big voice and I feel like I can accomplish anything I want. So when I went into real estate, there were definitely some comments and areas where people were like, oh, real estate's so hard. How are you going to be able to accomplish that? Well, I pretty much fucking did. I think I finished at 15 million my first year and a half and made Top Realtor 500 within my first year. So done. But that's a little bit about me, a little bit about what I'm going for. And to wrap it all up, I'm a mom, I'm a boss babe, I'm a wife, and life is getting fast, life is getting awesome. And that's really what this podcast is about, the real shit. And I hope you join me. So subscribe today. This is Salty City Podcast, and it is going to be a hell of a ride every week. Jump on with me. There's going to be new episodes and great guests. So let's go get salty with me. Thank you for joining me today on Salty City. Honestly, I love that you're all here. I look forward to the questions, the DMs, the Q&A. I want to hear from you. That's what this is about. So reach out to me. Please subscribe. If you want more, we're going to be dropping episodes weekly, and it's going to be amazing, and we're going to do it together. So I'll see you shortly.